Yeah, dude. Oh, I was gonna ask you. Do you think you'll ever join the 26-inch kick community anytime soon?
I don't know,
You
man.
gonna
Like
join me?
I remember I've always been curious. I remember I've only played a 26 once. I was staying at a homie's in Buffalo, and he had some small boutique kit. I think it was like Kent Custom Drums, I think, and his was a 26. And I remember being like, "Oh my god, dude, how do you play this? Because the beater is like nowhere near the center. Like I really had to dig. You
Yeah,
know, I
it's a
was like,
lot
wow,
lower.
like I have mad respect for you, bro, because of that. Because like you got some strong ass legs playing a fucking big fucker like that, dude.
Right?
You know, I'm like talking about, oh well, I went with this shallower kick because it's easier. It's like, dude, like mad respect for you, man. Like big boy kick like that. It is not easy to play. Like,
Yeah. I like it though because I just tracked over at Southern Ground here and
oh nice,
call it,
dude.
whether it was the mics or whatever. I started detuning it just because like used to I thought you had to tune up with it because of how big the head is. But
Oh really? You tuned down, really?
I tuned it down to where it almost wrinkles whenever I bury the beater.
That's
But
amazing.
and see, a lot of guys spoke against that because if mine's 20 inches deep, and so
Right.
typically, like the bigger the diameter, the shallower the shell.
Absolutely.
Ideally,
Yeah.
I speak against it. I think that like just
Really?
because it's deeper, it doesn't necessarily make it boomier, but it just
Uh-huh.
makes the sound that much more dense, I guess, for lack of better phrasing.
Right.
Um, Dude,
Is that how these guys are getting this really wet kick drum sound?
the I like,
Wow,
and,
dude.
and I learned, I got that idea from Dave, my podcast partner, because I think he plays a 24 on his current kit with Reliant
Uh-huh.
K, but
Yeah.
he sets his batter head on his kick like whenever he buries the beater to where it almost wrinkles, where he's just getting a real
Wow.
gushy, thuddy sound, rather than kind of the bouncy rebound.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because I've always been an EMAD guy, and I
Hmm.
do like a little bit of flex on the head where I feel like, because I was always told when I was in music school, it's like, oh, like you're pressing the beater into the head, like you shouldn't do that. It's like, you, plenty of guys like play like that. Like these aren't rules; these are just guidelines. Like,
Right.
and um, I've always preferred like a little bit of flex. Like I said, like when I bury that fucking beater, like so. You've really piqued my interest, man. Maybe I do need a 26.
It does. I like it, man.
Yeah,
I would like to try. A friend of mine had me try a 24 on his Gretsch
yeah,
kit, and
yeah.
I
I
liked
bet it
it.
sounds incredible. That's my favorite thing about Gretsch drums is the way the kick sounds.
Hmm.
Like
It's
unbelievable.
it's so funny though. Like once I went from a 22 to a 26, so I completely skipped the 24. But
Right, and you're
now,
getting a lot of rebound with that 22, man.
yeah,
That's just like,
right.
woo, it's gonna come right back, bro.
Yeah, and so what's funny is I see a 22 and I think it's a 20. Like once you get to 26, everything looks so
Yes,
small. And then
yeah,
I was at Garrett Goodwin's house the other day, about a week
yeah.
ago, I guess. And he's a DW endorser, but he bought a DW kit from one of his friends who was trying to get rid of it, and that was a 28 by 20. And
Oh my
freaking
God.
monster. And I looked at that and I was like, now I feel like my 26 is too small.
Right. That's so rare. I don't even think there's like many guys that are
No,
doing that.
no, and definitely
That's
not.
like almost like that old like that dude that was in I don't know his name, the guy that was in Marilyn Manson, and I remember
Oh,
seeing that beautiful people music video when I was like a kid and be like, whoa, that's badass. Look at that guy's kick drum. It's like
yeah,
ridiculous. Like
it's crazy. And then I think I heard that Tommy Lee did that on a Motley Crue tour. His was a lot shallower, but he played like I think like a 30-inch kick or something. I heard I heard rumor that
really?
he put that it was for show and he had a smaller kick inside of that one for sound. I don't know how
What
true that
the
is. Yeah, like just this monster kick that he just hid behind, basically. Hmm.
wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, big bass drums. And I've heard people speak against the bigger bass drum on tours just because of like, you don't know what riser you're going to be on or
Right.
how big the room's going to be. But I don't know if I could go back to a 22. I think the smallest I could go would be a 24.
It's funny that you mentioned that though, because now that I'm doing 14 by 24, like uh, I remember the first night or two of tour, like I had to get it just right because I felt like it was kind of crawling away from me a little bit. Like I really had to
Really?
make sure I had these spurs dialed perfectly. Like I don't know if it's just because I was like beating the snot out of it. That probably has a lot to do with it. But wow, like I would think the opposite. If it's like a big fucker, it's going to be planted. Like
Yeah. Like what you have a 2414 on this one on your newest kit,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
What's the one behind you? Is that your second SJC kit?
Yeah, that's the golden record kit. I believe that's either a 20 by 24 or a 22 by 24. I can't remember exactly.
It looks pretty
Um,
deep. Yeah.
yeah, it's ridiculous. And,
Okay.
and then I think it's like 9 by 13 and 16 by 16. On
Ooh.
that tour, though, I also had a 14 by 14 as well as the 16 by 16. But the older I got, like, I like regressed. Like I used to have this DW collectors that was like 8, 10, 12, 14, 22, like 3 up, 1 down. And then like finally, like, because the guys I used to play with in hardcore bands bitched at me so much for like having a ridiculous setup like that. And then now finally in my, now that I'm in my 30s and I'm lazy, I'm just like, yeah, like let's do a 4-piece. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I traded the amount of drums I had. I was like, let's just have a ton of cymbals. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of went backwards on that, but yeah.
Let's get off kick. Let's get off kits. What sticks do you use? I don't think I've ever asked you
Uh,
that before.
yeah. Pro Mark 2B's wood tip.
Oh,
I've been,
big.
yeah, I love them, man. So that was another thing. Like when I started playing, I loved like itty bitty little 7As, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, now I like these 5As. Oh, now I like these 5Bs. Like, oh, I love these 2Bs. Like, and it's been 2Bs ever since.
Okay. You said Pro Mark 2B, just Pro Mark
Wood
2B,
tip.
the wood tip.
Yeah. Yep.
Are they hickory or are they like Japanese oak or something?
I tried the oaks, and those freaked me out because I couldn't tell when they were going to break. They would just split clean in half.
Whoa.
Wasn't into that. So it's either I'll do regular hickories or sometimes I like the naturals too that they make that don't
Mm-hmm.
have the lathing on them.
Yeah.
Those I like to warm up with. And I recently finally they've been sold out forever. I recently got a reflex pad, and like I've been like watching TV and like ripping the reflex like every day, and I'm like so happy about it. And I've been doing that with a pair of those naturals, and I love that because it's gonna make my hands like so like shitty and sandpaper, and they're gonna bleed and crack, and like I
Right.
feel like that's like part of it, like
Yeah.
I want that, like so then winter tour is not as big of a deal. My hands are that much tougher, and I don't have to worry about them cracking and bleeding as much. But I digress. But yeah, Pro Mark 2Bs typically just regular hickory, and then occasionally the naturals are cool as well.
Do you one of the drummers that I set up for with Drum Paradise, he's a big session guy now, and I see in his bag he's got like 4 or 5 different sizes of sticks. Do you ever try
Okay,
different like I think that's crazy because my hand like even if I went from a 5B to a 5A, my hands would cramp immediately.
sure,
Do you ever
yeah.
do you ever do that or do you stick with the same size stick?
So I would say predominantly I like to warm up with a set of marching sticks, like some Ralph Hardimans.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get up there when it's time to rage, and these 2Bs feel like twigs, kind of like the whole weighted bat thing.
Yep, do the same
Um,
thing.
but this last tour, like I was using Nick from Grayscale's Reflex, and I lost my marching stick, so I was just like warming up with my regular sticks, but the reflex is so sick because it has that one side that's like uh ultra dexterity, like so much resistance. It's like a couch or a pillow, and um man, like I feel like that might be my new vibe, as far as warming up. But I have done that in the past with the marching sticks, but never would I switch out like in a set or
Yeah,
anything like that. Like,
we can start wrapping it up. Um,
yeah, no worries,
I
dude.
feel like
Like,
you and I could talk for like days though.
oh, I know, dude. Like, I'm glad that we got a second shot at this because I feel like there's like a really good ebb and flow going right
Yeah,
now. You know.
I felt that whenever we first met, because um, because David introduced us, and then I think you and I just chatted about drums for like an hour and a half. It seemed
Oh,
like.
absolutely, yeah. Like, I didn't even care. It was like you were like grabbing a beer or something, and I was like, oh, dude, this fucking guy gets it. Like, I'm just gonna fucking sit here and talk to this guy for days about drums. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Um, dude, are you? I can't remember. Are you playing with anybody else? Do you have any other projects going? Or are you strictly TDS?
definitely that's like my main focus. I had another band here in Atlanta called The Threshold. Unfortunately, it kind of fell apart when I got home from a tour last fall. But that EP's out there. It's on Apple Music and Spotify and everything. I spent a couple years on that project. It kind of vibes like Misery Signals or like As Cities Burns, and I'd always wanted to do something like that. So that EP is called Sense of Self. Once again, that band was called The Threshold, and it's out there. I did the drums for that at Glow in the Dark, which I was really stoked about.
Whoa, cool.
So they sound really crazy, really good room sound. And then my homie Trav from Microwave mixed it. So yeah, it's like a little EP that I'm like really proud of. But so that's out there if anyone wants to check that out. There's actually one of the dudes that was involved in that project. His name's Nick Lowry. If people follow me on my socials and stuff, they'll always see me like posting stories and shit with him. Like, I've always been in bands with that dude growing up, and ever since that last project kind of caved in, we're working on a new EP right now, and it's just me and him. Like, I'm trying to find somebody to sing on it, and we're like slowly putting something together. I don't even know what it's going to be called, but we're working on a batch of songs, and so I'm doing that, and then I'm dabbling with a little bit of co-production. I got a homie up the street from me. He runs a studio called Coco Break,
Okay.
and he's like bringing in a lot of these younger bands and like helping develop them and hone their sound. And I got really involved with him because he was just a homie, and I would go over there and just hang out while he was tracking these bands. And then one day he was like, Ben, do you have any ideas? And like I started firing out these ideas, and now me and him kind of produced together, and like I've been able to get a couple guys in there where they've actually hired me on to play on their records. So there's this dude, Brad Pallone. He's got a project, an Atlanta-based band called Battle of Heart and Mind, and I did 2 songs with him that he dropped, and then there's 4 more that we're almost done with, and it's kind of crazy. It's like early November meets like Refused. Like, it's fucking nuts. Like, it's really really fun. I'm having a lot of fun. Uh, like because I would be in a live room, and I'd be like, all right, he'd be up there with me. And I'd be, all right, man, teach me this song.
Yeah.
And then like as he's like going through it with me, I can do arrangement of the song with him, and then immediately lay down my tracks.
Right.
So like whenever I'm home, like I've been kind of hammering out some shit with him, and he's trying to do like a couple different EPs and eventually a full length. And I might do some shows with him later on this summer after this Mother Nature tour. But yeah, that's about all I got going on at the moment. Yeah, man, I'm just trying to stay busy. I've been pretty lucky that I've got some hometown heroes here in Atlanta that I can vibe with and get real loud with.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for taking time out. I know you said you got another podcast going on in a little while. Who is the podcast that you're chatting with?
So this is with my homie Ian and my homie Tito, the drummer of Microwave. It's called Gate City Influence,
Cool.
and it's a brand new podcast that they're doing that they're trying to shed light on Atlanta creatives.
Oh, cool.
So there's only 2 episodes up right now, but I'm really stoked about what they're doing. Obviously, I've got a lot of passion for the Atlanta music scene and kind of what we got going on, because everybody thinks Atlanta is like just popping because of film, you know, like all the Walking Dead shit, or like Marvel's got a studio here and all that kind of shit. But I mean, there's so many sick bands that are coming out of this area that are finally starting to to get out there. I mean, obviously Microwave's got a lot of hype, and then like the homies in Big Jesus and these dudes I know in this band called Bliss with one S. If you haven't checked them out, dude, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Their drummer's super good too. It was funny because my homie Trav from Microwave said, "Dude, you got to check this guy out because he reminds me of a younger you." And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy. That's
Cool.
like so sick." Like, so I definitely vibe them. They're super good. I played in a band with the kid that sings in that band. I was in a project for a little while called Word Travels Fast. This was in 2014. I did an EP with them called Hard to Love, and it's like really crazy, like techie, kind of like Propaganda meets like Tiny Moving Parts kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So it was a lot of fun, and Trav from Microwave recorded that as well. So it's out there. I think that's only on Bandcamp. I don't think that's on like Spotify or anything. But I'll send it to you. It's really crazy.
I'd love to hear
it's
that.
It's definitely nuts.
Yeah.
One of those dudes went on to play in that band Forever Came Calling. Shout out to Tom Lovejoy. That's an old homie.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that name. That's cool.
And he's got a hardcore band now called Vatican that's killing it. That kid's so good. So yeah, like I said, a lot of cool shit that's popping off in the Atlanta music scene, man. But it's kind of in this underpinning right now. So that's why I'm stoked to chill with those Gate City guys later, because they're kind of trying to be like, hey,
yeah,
like let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation about this. Did you know about all this sick shit that we got going on in Atlanta? You know, like trying to put it on the map, baby.
Dude, that's cool. I love seeing your updates. So I follow your Instagram a lot and seeing where you guys are at, and you're real. For one, you're really entertaining to follow. So if anybody if anybody doesn't follow Ben Cato on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, you should. But two, I'm just stoked to see what all you're doing, man. Like from Dangerous Summer to I mean, heck, whenever you and I tried to do this the first time. To catch up, you had told me y'all had got the offer to travel with State Champs, and it was State Champs, right? And our last night, and I was like, what? So just hearing that kind of stuff's really awesome. So I'm glad that worked out well. And two, like, it's really fun for me. Like, I feel like there are very few people that I can like dive into gear talk conversations with, but
all day
you're one of the few. Yeah. So
let's do it, man. Drums are like a fine wine, you know. It's like I started buying snare drums, and I'm like, oh, like I can't stop, man. It's like, oh, like I've got this mahogany kit now. Like, what's next? Like, should I do birch? Should I do babinga? Like, fuck, like, you know, it's just like there's all these like limitless possibilities, and like you know, I feel like a lot of like you said, like a lot of people are just pleased with like, oh, like, yeah, I got this maple kit. It's whatever, you know. It's like, no, man, there is this universe of sounds, you know. Like, how can I like make different sounds? Like let's start like just trying weird shit, you know. Like, how far down this rabbit hole can I go? Because I'm down to go like all the way, you know. Like, Hell yeah, dude. Let's talk gear forever. Like,
Dude, you need to check out like not only like weird sounds and weird woods, but even like the blends of woods that people put together. And
yes,
this
absolutely.
and I'll try to keep this short too. But like one of the drummers, Chad Cromwell, who's a big session guy,
Yeah.
he toured a lot and everything. He just got on with Pearl, and his newest kit is maple gum wood. And
Ooh.
dude, it's incredible. And he's like, he swears by it. He's like, I don't think I'll ever go to anything else. Like maple gum is just like the best blend to him, and I would agree.
Wow.
Because like getting sounds for him, his drums are so punchy. So if you haven't heard Maple Gum Shells, you should check him out. It's
I'm very
pretty
intrigued. Yeah, I'm
ridiculous.
like foaming at the mouth, actually. Yeah.
Well, Ben, thanks for taking time out of your day to catch up, and hopefully either I can make my way to Atlanta, or you can, or I'll see you here in Nashville hopefully
Yeah,
soon.
we got to rage. I'll be up there in like 5 weeks, dude, and we'll hang.
Cool.
I'm coming up like mad early because like, I always like to do a little bit of extra prep, get really cozy, and make sure I'm good to go before a headliner. So I'll head up there hella early, and we can rage for sure.
Let me know, man, for sure. That sounds good.
Yeah, dude.
All right, everybody. If you're not following Dangerous Summer and Ben Cato, make sure you go check them out. As always, go check out DrumChats.com. This is where the interview will be at, as well as our YouTube channel as you're watching right now. Again, Ben, thanks for the good hang. It's always good talking with you.
Hell yeah, brother.